I'm Tricia Morris and welcome to the Mariachi Club Scrap Page Kit Workshop. We are going to turn our Mariachi kit into 8 beautiful completed pages. I will help you do all the trimming and organizing, sorting, dry fitting, and give you a lot of tips along the way. And then once the workshop is over, just go ahead and grab your adhesive and glue everything down and add your photos. You'll be done in no time. So we are going to begin by taking our Mariachi kit and setting aside all the goodies, ribbons, and so on. But I want you to keep out the photo mats that are included in the kit, and let's get those filed. Now I've got my trimmer here, and resting beneath it is my accordion pocket file. This is a project that you can make for yourself to help you keep everything organized. We're going to do all the trimming for all 8 pages at once and place the pieces into one of 4 pockets. Now if you don't have this, just keep track with 4 piles in your workspace. The advantage of this is it takes up less room. Now let's get these photo mats filed into the pocket in which they will be used. I'm going to start by finding 3 green photo mats. These are nice and bright. All 3 of them go in pocket 1 and 2, along with 1 black photo mat. That also goes in 1 and 2. Next up, we'll find our 3 white photo mats. Those are used in layouts 3 and 4, so put them in the 3 and 4 pocket. Then we'll take 1 yellow photo mat. This goes in pocket 5 and 6, all by himself. And then finally, we've got 2 each of the black and the yellow that remain. We'll put all of that in pocket 7 and 8. Okay, our next plan is to sort the paper that we're going to trim and use in the proper order so we can save time a little bit later. And I want you to find this beautiful guitar print. This may be on the top of your stack. Take one of them and put it face down on your work surface, and then reach for one of the blue plain papers, 1 black. Actually, I take that back. We're going to use 2 black. We're going to trim both of those. Then find the Cutapart. These are usually found on the back of your stack. Find the Cutapart that has the really wide border strips on it, border strips of various sizes and a bunch of squares. Put that face down. Then the one with the blue edge here, put that face down. Next, find the other guitar print. That'll go face down, followed by the single sheet of green. Then take this really pretty blue swirl print. Let's put that face down, followed by the yellow. Next, the other remaining blue plain, followed by the swirl print again, face down. And then last, I saved the best for last. These are the 2 absolutely stunning textured red paper. This was a really great buy. I am so pleased with how this paper looks and can't wait to use it on my cards, pages, and projects. Now flip everything over to the top of the pile where we began with that guitar print, and we're going to start our trimming process. Go ahead and place that print into the trimmer with it in the right side up filling position. The guitar should be right here. And we are going to find 8.5 inches. So if this is your first time using this awesome trimmer, find the whole number 8. Make sure you're looking at inches, not centimeters. And then go to the left 2 vertical columns. So every column represents 1/4 of an inch. So that's going to be 8.5. Make sure the paper's flush up here at the top and you're pushing down on the clear bar before you slice. Then slide down to 5 inches and slice again. Make sure you stabilize again as well. And then this 5-inch piece will go in pocket 1 and 2. And I encourage you to file that at an angle so that you can still see the numbers here in the left corner of your folder. And this middle section from the print, that's going to go in pocket 5 and 6, also at an angle. And then this other remaining piece goes in 1 and 2 again with another friend. Okay, now we are at the blue, so let's just trim this at 11 3/4. That means we're way over here, close to 12, 11 3/4. Stabilize and make sure it's level and trim. Then we're going to go down to 11 1/2. So we're creating some tiny pieces here. 11 1/4, 8 1/2. And 4 3/4, all the way down here over here, 4 3/4. Rotate the 4 3/4 by 12. We'll cut at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. We're going to gather up the 3 pieces that are the same plus this little guy that fell off the edge. All of that goes in pocket 1 and 2. Take the next strip, just one, and we're going to trim this at those same numbers: 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. This time gather up all of these squares and the little piece that fell off the end, and all of it goes in 5 6. The next strip we'll trim at 9 and 4 1/2. All of the pieces, including the oblongs that match and then the smaller one, all go in 3 and 4. And then you have some narrow strips here. Put 2 of them in pocket 1 and 2, and the other one in 7 and 8. And now you can clean up all of your scraps. Oh wait, there aren't any. Yay us. Okay, we're going on to the black sheet. And make sure you only grab one. We are going to trim 2, but we're trimming them differently. So just take 1, and we're going to cut at 11, 10, 8 3/4, 4 3/4. Rotate, and we're going to cut this at 9, 6, and 3. Gather up all of these pieces. There should be a total of 4. They're all the same size. 2 of them are used in layouts 3 and 4, and the other 2, 5 and 6. We get to trim this next strip in half, handy, at 6 inches, that is. And both of these are used in layout 5 and 6. The remaining pieces, I'm going to try to pick them up all at once. The larger of the 3 goes in pocket 5 and 6. Then one of the remaining goes in 1 and 2, and the other in 3 and 4. And pick up the next sheet of black paper. We'll cut this one at 11 3/4. We've done this before. Make sure you stabilize again. And then 11 1/4. So that's 11, and then to the left, 1 vertical column. 10, 8 1/4, 6 1/2, and 4 1/2. Lots of strips there. Okay, grab this wide strip and rotate it so it's horizontal. We'll cut at 10 1/2, 9, 6, 2 3/4. Rotate that 2 3/4 and cut at 2 1/4. We're cutting it in half. Just made 2 pieces the same. They both go in pocket 7 and 8. I'm going to pick up all those narrow pieces that fell. The largest one that goes in 3 and 4. And the next one, 1 and 2. And these last 2 strips, pocket 3 and 4. Now the next strip, this is 2 inches wide right now. We're going to cut it into a bunch of squares. So 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. We just made a whole pile here. 3 of them go in pocket 1 and 2, and 3 of them go in pocket 5 and 6. Picking up the rest of these strips. This wide one goes in 3 and 4, and the next wide goes in 7 and 8. Now it's a little smaller. We're going to go into, this goes in pocket 5 and 6. Then you have the next widest one, actually both of these, the skinny and the slightly wider, that goes in 7 and 8 as well. And now we've arrived at our Cutaparts. So we're almost done with the trimming already, and we still haven't accumulated a single scrap, which is really cool. Now, as a reminder to my newcomers here, there's a little plus sign in the corner, and everything from that line to the outside edge of the paper needs to go. And that is true for all 4 edges of this paper. So I'm just going to start by trimming this first edge off. And when I do the first one, I just leave a little bit there. I'm going to go back and clean that up in a minute. But now when I rotate, this time I can see a lot better both at the top of my blade on my trimmer, right where the blade meets the line, and I can also see a lot better at the bottom. So this is where you do your fine tuning. You just make sure that everything's lined up, and if the paper has to be, you know, realigned a little bit, that would be normal at this point. Then I'm rotating and trimming again. That's my 3rd side. This is my 4th side here. And now when I go around, I can just double check at 12 inches and just cut a little bit more off that end. And I think I have to just clean this one up a little bit too. So the better we do with this, the better all of our trimming will go. And I'm very pleased that my trimmer is capable of just shaving off a little piece off the edge here. And then these can go in the garbage. Now I'm going to rotate back so that this blue and black strip is on the right. And then our first cut's at 10.5. And it's going to go right between those 2 pieces of artwork. And 9. Move down to 7.25. 6.5. 5.75. And 3.5. This piece goes in pocket 7 and 8. The blue in 5 and 6. Next, there should be a black strip with the blue on it. That goes in 3 and 4. Fiesta, that goes in 1 and 2. Now we have a series of squares that we're going to cut, but first we have to do our rectangle. So make sure this yellow piece is on the right, not with the guitar, but it's kind of an open yellow piece. And we'll cut that at 10.5. Now we make some squares. So we'll go 8.75, 7, 5.25, 3.5, 1.75. Okay. The first square with the yellow and the guitar, pocket 5 and 6. This red one, pocket 1 and 2. The blue, and then this red guitar, 5 and 6. The black, and then this brighter green, 1 and 2. And this little yellow end cut here, 5 and 6. This strip, 7 and 8. And the last one, 3 and 4. Again, we still have no scraps other than those little edges that we threw away. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing I did before. Cut generously on that first snip, then rotate and line it up well at the top and bottom corners of your trimmer blade. And keep rotating until all of these edges are cleaned up. Return back to the piece with the blue on the right edge, and we'll cut at 11, 10, 8.75, 7.25, and 4.25. Rotate so that this guitar is on the right. Cut at 9.25 and 6.25. This piece goes in pocket 3 and 4, as does this one with the little rose here and the journaling prompt. This one with the guitar, 1 and 2. I'm just going to have you cut this one horizontally at 9. And then this piece goes in pocket 7 and 8. Set this aside for now. We have these next pieces. Make sure Brilliant is on your right, and we'll cut at 9.25 and 6.5. This piece goes in pocket 5 and 6. And if you happen to have a circle punch, I just happen to have this 3/4 inch punch, and that's the size that's needed to open up this tag. So if you want, you can do this.
If you don't want to, you do not have to. Without a punch, it's kind of hard to open it up. So I happen to have this, but again, if not, you could use a craft knife or just skip that part altogether and leave the paper in place. So both of these go in pocket 7 and 8. Next, make sure the red is on the right. We'll cut at 9, 6, and 3. This one with the black text, 1 and 2. Then the blue, 3 and 4. The joy, 5 and 6. And this happiness looks gorgeous. That's 3 and 4. We have this strip going in pocket 5 and 6. The blue in 5 and 6 also. And then if you happen to have a die cutting machine where you can cut with a perimeter on this, that would be fabulous, like with a thin circle cutting die. Go ahead and do that. If you don't happen to have something like that, maybe you have a punch. And if you don't happen to have a punch, just go ahead and use scissors to trim out these circles. I'm just going to quick use my scissors. So this was my 3-inch stitched edge die, and now I have my circles cut out. And let's get those filed. So this larger one, this yellow one goes in pocket 5 and 6. And then the guitar with a lot of roses, that's 3 and 4. And the guitar with a few roses, that's 1 and 2. And once again, I'm happy to tell you there aren't any scraps to worry about. So I'm going to go ahead and set my trimmer aside, and let's start dry fitting our pages. Go ahead and turn to page 4 of your instructions at the bottom, where you'll see layouts 7 and 8 pictured here at the bottom. And I'm going to take the entire stack of papers that have remained that we sorted out earlier, and I'm going to keep the entire stack on the left and then slide the top sheet to the right, and that should give me the base for layouts 7 and 8. So we're going to work our way backwards so that we can end with layout 1, every piece in its place, and then all you have to do is just stick everything down and add your photos, finishing touches, and the like. And you can choose how detailed or how precise you want to be with all of this. Remember, it's your own layout, so you get to pick how much you do based on, whatever I did, or just go your own way, right? Okay, so I do like to start out with my strips as much as I can. So if I look at this black strip here, it's going to go across the bottom of the right side of the page and then be nested with this journaling prompt border strip here that kind of anchors everything down nicely. And then above that, I can add the 2 vertical black photo mats that we've sorted out here into the envelope earlier. And then we have our cute little tag. It's going to go right about here. On the left side, let's add those photo mats, because that's going to help us determine where to put the border here. So those are going to be horizontal to kind of balance the verticals here. And then down beneath those, this should fit, these 2 black photo mats should fit right there perfectly. Then take that skinny black strip, place it right here, and then kind of to frame this in. So you're leaving about 1/8 of an inch of space between the strip and these picture mats, and then our nice border strip here. Finally, the wider black nested with the blue, give some nice anchoring there. Then you have your title accented with this little thing. We're going to cut that out with scissors, and we can take our little brilliant tag and place that right there. Now I did use the this really cool, it's a setting, okay? It's a circular setting, and added the gem, the foil gem that should fit right inside there. And this is something to be appreciated in person. It's hard to see on video how cool it is. Top that with a little bit of jute ribbon, and then that's going to go right in the center of this guy. And then you've basically got your layout done. Oh, I did also add a gem, if I can get it off my table, to the middle of this piece, as well as some of the blue taffeta ribbon. I'm going to go over that in a moment here. Did a couple other cool things with this. Oh, and I added my little guitar with some jute down over here. And now you can see how the photo mat goes behind the guitar and behind the roses. And this is what I'm talking about as far as a totally optional thing. You don't have to do this. To do it, you need a craft knife, cutting mat, and a pencil.
So what you would do is once you know where you want this mat to go, don't glue it down, but just kind of place it where you know it's going to go. And you see the edge of the rose here? Just take a pencil and mark there. And here's the other end of the rose down over here. Make a little pencil mark there along the edge of the photo mat. You can do the same thing along the guitar. So mark and mark. Then when you take the photo mat away, you cut with a craft knife and you start and stop between those two pencil marks. You would do the same thing here, start and stop where those marks indicate. Once you've cut along those along the artwork basically to connect the two pencil marks, you'll be able to slide the photo mat behind the artwork, keeping it in the foreground, but yet your photos still remain very important on this layout. So it's a really cool thing you can do. And then here I just loop that taffeta ribbon around the edge of that tag. I did use scissors to just sort of eyeball a rounded edge here. And then you can see the little guitar with the jute. On this side, I made a simple loop of the taffeta as well to carry over the color of the ribbon to this side of the layout in a nice simple way. And then here you can see the just fussy cut, very, very simple to do, and added the jute here. And I glued this on with our bookbinding glue. Works like a charm. Pun intended. Okay, so now that is basically what you need to know to assemble layouts 7 and 8. I'm going to pick up 7 and then slide the next page over. And if I look at my instructions again, that puts me at layout 5 and 6. It should be yellow and swirl, and that's what I have here in front of me. Good news, right? So I will empty the contents of pocket 5 and 6. Make sure you don't accidentally go to 1 and 2. Sometimes I do that, and then I'm confused about what's going on. We're working our way backwards. Okay, I think we'll begin with this great, this wider print here. I like to have that guitar on the top so I can see it. And then along the left edge here, I'm going to place this fiesta, like there's no mañana, which in Spanish, well, there's some English in there too, but party like there's no tomorrow would be the translation. And then I'm going to take the black strip here, leave a little space of that yellow to peek through, and then this lovely border here. Now, I love how this turned out. This little guy, which, you know, could have been a scrap, but he was saved. He really adds a lot to the above that page title there. And let's see, I'm going to add some black photo mats that are horizontal here and here. Now I have a little bit of room below, and what I ended up doing here is using a craft knife and cutting mat, or you could use scissors as well, to remove the white, or you can keep the white. Totally up to you. I kind of liked it to be the same width as the black photo mat here. It worked out pretty nice. Then we have the, well, we'll get back to that in a minute. We'll add our vertical photo mat here, and then a nested strip below it to frame it in nicely. Across the bottom, a set of 3 photo mats. Now these are trimmed to 3 3/4, and that allows me to place them in a perfect row with perfect spacing across the bottom of the page there. Works out really nice. Then you've got 2 horizontal mats here. If you had a lot of vertical pictures, you could just put 1 picture over the top. Journaling prompt here. 3 black squares in that opening. And then I'm going to nest them with our little guitar square, a blue square, and another guitar. We have the little joy. For this piece, which was rescued from the circular file, I'm going to cut, and I do this a lot. It's just a nice little touch, especially with this theme where you have a lot of the banners that you see hanging in the streets of Mexico during festivals or just in general. And notice I cut it in half, and I can do a fake out and put a little piece on each side of this sentiment here at the bottom. Looks like a charm. Let's take a look at our finished page here. Nothing more to add other than a little loop of taffeta to the left edge of this to just add a little touch, bring the eye to the journaling you're going to write there about what happened. Matching that, another loop here. This has been attached with foam adhesive, also attached with foam to give it a little height and shadow. And then a basic bow made with the grosgrain ribbon. If you haven't watched my ribbon basics video, just search that on our YouTube channel. And I'm gonna show you how to make that basic bow. It really works well, nice and flat. And here you can see the finished touches taken care of here on the bottom. Turned out really nice. Okay, time to stack and slide this one now. So let's slide this over the yellow only and stack it. And then I'm gonna slide one more time. And here I should have the base for layouts 3 and 4. Let me turn back in my instructions to the image for layout 3 and 4. We need our stuff. So I'll grab that out of my pocket here and make sure I have everything. And I like to distribute the pieces from my hand if I can. If you're, both hands are working well for you today. Sometimes my hands don't work so hot. And I'm gonna place a white photo mat across the top here. Then take the wide black, and I think I centered this exactly at 6 inches, made it nice and horizontal. Place that, and that's accented here. Let's see, how about this guy up here, and then the other photo mat. There should be a smaller blue rectangle. Now that's going to be level with the top edge of this piece, and then this goes beneath it. And it should create a nice, almost like a square, like the way these edges, now this should line up at the bottom with these two vertical, and that edge kind of lines up. The only thing that doesn't line up on the edge is this right here. And these have nestables, so I'll put those on top. That leaves another larger black rectangle I was trying to find. That goes with this journaling prompt. And I turned it this way and did some linked ribbon at the top. Nest with the black, and then this nice little strip here. Across the top, 2 narrow strips. One with the happiness, looks gorgeous on you, and the other with the rose. And then you've got your little round piece nestled right there. And then 2 fabric roses will get placed on the black to kind of allow them to pop a little bit. And I believe I used the violin charm. I attached it with some jute over here. So let's talk about all of those finishing touches now on my final pages. Oh yes, 3 gems. I had 3 left. 1, 2 on this side because that's how I had the space. And the 3rd over here gives it a nice finishing touch. Okay, so there's my chain link ribbon. I think I call it a double looped bow in my ribbon basics video. So again, I'm using these basic skills. If you just master them by watching the ribbon basics video, you'll have all the answers. I've come up with a lot more ways to use ribbons since, but this is a good start. Love this because it creates a nice accent with a wide ribbon that doesn't create a really large knot. That adds, a lot of dimension to your page. But, we do have a lot of dimension right here with these really cool roses, and I attached those with our bookbinding glue. Same for the gems. This was attached with foam adhesive. On the other side, here is the jute, and I just tied this in a knot and strung it across. And I also glued the violin in place. Now, what I want to mention is that I was pretty conservative in my jute usage, but I do have 2 full yards. So if I were to do this again, I'd wrap around here a few more times. I had quite a bit of jute left when I was finished with all the pages. I'd rather have too much than not enough, right? And then balanced the roses from the right with the final fabric rose on the left. Go ahead and take this print, slide it on over. I'm going to move these out of the way so that they don't create too much bulk here while I'm doing my dry fitting. And I slid the final red to the right, and that lands us on layouts 1 and 2. Take everything out of pocket A. Good stuff. And now I can get this all distributed here. So let's begin with this large piece with the guitar. I believe that ends up here, and I put the roses on the top. Then the other slightly smaller piece goes along this left edge, just flush with the edge. And then I'm going to differentiate from the print to the red with this bright blue in between on each side. Kind of adds a nice pop of color. Speaking of color, I can add 2 tilted vertical mats
watch your tangents here. Make sure the corner doesn't touch the top edge of the paper and that the corners don't touch each other like that. I like to overlap and change the height just a little bit. So if you want one to be higher than the other, that tends to work really well to avoid the tangent. Then a black strip is nested with the Fiesta border. So this is good, gonna be nice for any kind of celebration. And then a horizontal mat here with the journaling prompt with the guitar. And this text, I'm gonna take this piece and place it there. I did my little banner trick with that. And then there's kind of the circle up here, kind of added that in that general area with the guitar. Now across this top area, and it pained me to do so, I did cover the print with a set of 3 3¾ inch mats, another vertical green to kind of match the left, and a horizontal black to anchor things down. 3 squares, and then your red guitar, the black, and the fret here. And you've got all of your pieces placed. Now I did use this concho. Now this is pretty dimensional, so in order to make it more scrapbook worthy, I just chose to sandwich this in my Big Shot and ran it through to flatten it. How's that for creative, right? And now I have this really nice concho that's flat and perfect for my mariachi layouts. It's a wonderful little spot to thread your ribbon. So let me just show you the finished touches on these last pages. Here, nothing out of the ordinary was added, not even a stitch of ribbon or anything. And then here we have the flattened concho. This didn't flatten quite as much as my last one did. And I just did a little trick here. Same thing where I just took my craft knife and allowed the ribbon and the border strip to sneak behind there. It's wrapped around at the back where it's peeking out. I just secured it with some cellophane tape. You could use washi tape there as well. This is attached with foam adhesive. Make sure you're aware of where it overlaps so that you can still slide your picture in there. And down over here, I just once again added a little cut into the end of this and also doubled up with the ribbon just to kind of carry that through nicely. So that is layout 1 and 2 for the Mariachi page kit. That wraps up the entire set of 8 layouts. So what I typically do now, if I don't intend on finishing the pages immediately, which I highly advise that you do, just stack up 1 then on top. 1 is here. Take all the remaining embellishments, if any, that haven't been placed, put your instructions on top, and then you can slide all this back into a bag that it came in, and then it's ready to go for when you have a chance to sit and assemble everything together. What a lot of people do is get this far with their layouts before they attend a crop. And that way, when you show up at your crop, you don't need to bring everything but the kitchen sink. All you need to do is bring a brick of photos, a bunch of adhesive, maybe a ruler, trimmer, a couple things, and your prepped layouts. Then just pull everything out of the bag. It's all there, ready to assemble. Finish that up, add your photos, and you will be the most productive person there. So let me encourage you with that. Oh, and I also want to invite you to join us as a member of Club Scrap. Members always save, but anyone can shop. So I'll see you soon in another Club Scrap workshop. In fact, join me for the Mariachi card kit, where we'll make 12 beautiful cards in this theme. Thanks for joining me.